Just when you think the technology industry cannot get any stupider, then you realize, in fact, it is 2026, so it can get so much stupider. So I think this is interesting for the SpaceX IPO. So the SpaceX IPO is supposed to be $1.7 to $2 trillion. And one of the interesting things with this is you have Elon Musk, and Elon Musk wants to be emperor of the universe. He really dislikes when the fellow owners of his companies, what he considers his companies, disagree with what he's doing and tell him no. That is the big thing you have to understand in the modern world of Silicon Valley and big tech. They don't take no for an answer. So I've said many times in the past a little while, this is why I call it the rapist mentality. You know who doesn't take no for an answer? Rapists. Big tech doesn't take no for an answer. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so this is the IPO from Ars Technica and other places too. SpaceX IPO gives Musk unchecked power and forbids investor lawsuits. So this is, again, the big thing with the Elon Musk story, which I am kind of curious to see how this is going to work out at the end of the day, is he is very, very impressed with himself, and he doesn't want to hear what anybody else has to say. And so there's been a big problem for the last little while with this company, like with Tesla, where basically he has shareholders. And the important thing to understand about shareholders, which kind of gets missed in the conversation in the modern world, is they are the owners of the company. The people that own equity in the company, the people that own shares in the company, they are the owners of the company. The CEO is actually just an employee. Like, it's kind of weird. Like, people don't really realize that, but the CEO is really an employee, basically like everybody else. They're supposed to respond to the board of directors. The board of directors is a board that has a fiduciary responsibility to return value to the rest of the investors, right? So basically, they are the ones that are supposed to look out for shareholder interests. If the CEO is doing their job, they keep their job. If the CEO is not doing their job, then they get fired. The issue that we have in the modern world of big tech, and especially with Silicon Valley, is these people again, they don't like no. They don't like no. They don't like having to answer for themselves. So one of the problems that we have is we have some of these companies where, even though they have gone public, there's a difference between like common shares and voting shares. And so what happens is people buy all the stock in the company, but they don't actually get any voting rights with the shares. So like with Mark Zuckerberg and with Facebook, right? One of the big problems there is Mark Zuckerberg controls all the voting shares. If every other investor in the company, if every other shareholder in the company basically tries to remove him or whatever else, Zuckerberg can just say, no, I have all the voting shares. And we see this with like voting rights. So what you'll see is, like, with some shares will have like 1 vote per share, and other shares will have like 5 votes per share. So even though this one person has far fewer shares than you do, their voting rights are far more significant than yours are. And that's where we get into this weird world. And why I get concerned, I've been talking about this for years, is especially when you look at a company like Facebook or Meta, right? Meta is a communication company. It's an advertising company. It's a platform company. It is whatever it is, right? Basically, it is now well over 20 years old at this point. It brings back a hell of a lot of revenue, and the profit should be going to shareholders as dividends. That's basically what should happen, right? There's a growth phase in a company where even if there is profit, all that profit gets reinvested so the company can grow. And then at some point, you're basically supposed to become like a blue chip company like IBM, where the profits are coming in, you make iterative improvements, and then the profits are divvied out to the shareholders. The issue is, since Mark Zuckerberg has all of these voting rights, he refuses to grow up, right? We are looking at Peter Pan syndrome at hyperscale in big tech, where you have these people, it's now 20 years down the pike, they are no longer visionaries in our world. They're also Rands, but they don't want to give up that mantle of being a visionary, and they have the voting rights, so they don't have to give it up. Right? So you have Mark Zuckerberg out there dumping tens of billions of dollars into VR. which just doesn't make any sense, right? They're dumping tens of billions of dollars into AI, which again also you think about with Synergy, right? Like with Meta, right? They're building they're investing in humanoid robots. Now, it's not just AI, like AI, but it's AI, it's humanoid robots, it's workplace productivity. It's all of this stuff as he desperately tries to cling on to some semblance of relevancy. And the problem is by the day he's becoming ever less relevant. And so money that could be going to the shareholders is now just being dumped into like an AI pit because, he can't deal with his midlife crisis. My concern when we look at somebody like Elon Musk, there's a lot of problems with Elon Musk. Elon Musk has done a lot of cool things. I'm not against SpaceX. I'm not against Starlink. I'm not against a lot of stuff. But you look at it, right? The semi truck is 10 years behind schedule. Full self-driving. Who the hell knows what's going on with that? Like there's a lot of fundamental issues with Elon Musk, but he considers himself, apparently, it appears, to be the smartest man in the generation. Here's the problem. What happens when he starts breaking down? Right? He talks about working 120-hour weeks. The human psyche, the human brain can only deal with so much of this stuff, right? We know about the ketamine, the drug use. We know about the downers in order to get him to go to sleep. We know about him working 120 hours a week. We know about him, collecting kids the way hoarders collect cats, right? You see, these are real issues on the table. And he's already married himself to Tesla. Like so much of the valuation of Tesla has nothing to do with what Tesla is actually doing. It's all about the vision of Elon Musk. And now you have him trying to get tied to SpaceX. And the problem is what happens when that starts breaking? What happens when your glorious leader starts having a mental breakdown and you have no practical way to get rid of them? And that's what we're going to start seeing here. This is a disaster. Investors should run the hell away from this. But, it's 2026, so they're going to run towards it. SpaceX's plan to go public will reportedly give CEO Musk, quote, virtually unchecked executive authority and limit the rights of shareholders to sue the company. The plan, reported by Reuters today, could prevent shareholder lawsuits like the one that held up a lucrative Musk pay package at Tesla. Quote, excerpts of SpaceX's IPO registration statement reviewed by Reuters show the company is combining super voting shares, mandatory arbitration, stricter rules on shareholder proposals, and Texas corporate law to give Musk and other insiders board control, or broad control, Reuters wrote. Quote, at the same time, it sharply limits investors' ability to challenge management, sue in court, and force votes on governance issues. So basically, if you buy shares in SpaceX, you get no vote. You're allowed to buy the share and shut the hell up. Let's see. Reuters said the policies, quote, will erode typical shareholder protections in unprecedented ways, and the only person who can fire Musk is Musk, who will retain majority control through super voting shares. Again, that's what I was talking before about those different tiers of shares. SpaceX reportedly plans to enforce a mandatory arbitration clause, taking advantage of a September 2025 policy statement issued by the SEC. The SEC's new position is that mandatory arbitration provisions are not inconsistent with federal securities laws. The SpaceX IPO will prevent shareholder lawsuits by, quote, making it clear that anyone who owns shares irrevocably and unconditionally waives all rights to pursue a jury trial. Reuters wrote, shareholders will also be prohibited from bringing class actions against the company, its directors, officers, controlling shareholders, or bankers tied to the IPO, according to the filing. Musk will reportedly have the power to, quote, elect, remove, or fill any vacancy on the board of directors. And so the thing to understand is the board of directors are the ones that are actually supposed to be looking after the company. So basically, Musk is allowed to elect, remove, or fill any of the people that are going to have supervisory control over Musk. Quote, and the power to control other issues requiring shareholder approval, including M&A transactions, potentially making it easier to merge with Tesla later if he wants, Reuters wrote. He currently owns 42.5% of SpaceX's equity, has an 83.8% of the voting control and will maintain over 50% of the voting power after it goes public. Musk's majority control via super voting shares will make SpaceX a quote controlled company under securities rules, meaning it won't have to follow the typical requirement to have independent directors form a majority of the nominating and compensation committees. Reuters wrote Musk is slated to be both the CEO and the board chairman. SpaceX also relocated to Texas. The space firm's IPO filing takes advantage of a largely untested new governance laws to limit shareholders' rights. Quote, the Texas incorporation gives the company extra protection from activist investors and hostile takeovers. The state's securities laws also make it harder for challenges to make an unsolicited tender offer, run a proxy contest, or remove officers, directors, and management. Although the SpaceX IPO appears to be unusually restrictive, investors are likely to buy in. It is expected to be the largest IPO in history, with SpaceX reportedly aiming to raise as much as $75 billion at a valuation of more than $2 trillion. So now they're going for over $2 trillion. Oh, come on now. Come on, Elon. $1.7 trillion. Man, that was 2025 numbers. We have inflation. The Strait of Hormuz is closed. That's causing inflation. Elon Musk needs at least $2 trillion to make SpaceX work. And so yeah, I don't know. We're going to see where this goes. I mean, my big concern with this, I honestly don't believe Elon Musk is stable anymore. If you look at what Elon Musk has been doing over the past number of years, look, I'm not saying he should be fired. I'm not saying he should retire or whatever else. But the idea that there should be no oversight at all. There is no in case of emergency break glass. Look, I'm not saying his factories need to be an effing democracy. I'm not saying the janitor should be able to take the CEO to task. Don't get me wrong. But the fact that there seems to be no in case of emergency break glass, that is a big concern, and especially for the United States in general, right? Right now, SpaceX is the vast majority of our space launch capability, right? Think about how much power that puts in his hands to literally be able to force the U.S. government to do the things that he needs to do. Right? Oh, you want to change the taxes? You want to change workman's comp? You want to change, unionization laws? Well, maybe we can't produce quite as many rocket ships next year as we planned on producing. That is a hell of a lot of power. Again, not just to be put in the hands for somebody who can control a corporation, but literally somebody who can try to control, the progress of an entire country, right? We already saw him dive into Doge. He thinks he's fully capable of going into the federal government and saying what's what, even though he was an abject failure. Like, unless his goal with Doge was to be an abject failure, he was an abject failure. Our country is worse at this point in time because of Doge. And you think about how much control this gives him. That is a thing that gets massively concerning. Like when you think about Starlink, think about how much of the communication capacity is going through Starlink. And he's basically, as one person is going to be able to control Starlink, is going to be able to control SpaceX as that pushes forward. If his AI plans go the way he says his AI plans are going to, I don't think they are, but if they are, that he would control that too. Think about one person that we already know at this point in time has mental issues, and they are going to have unfettered power, again, over the cornerstones of modern society. That is not a good thing. In any normal world, this IPO should burn in, right? The IPO is way too expensive to begin with. It's interesting, right? You're like, well, he launches stuff into space. Do you realize, and you can go check this, I was actually taking a look at this, not porn, OnlyFans. OnlyFans either makes more revenue or about the same amount of revenue as SpaceX launches. I'm not crap. Look, our society is screwed up in so many ways, but I want you to understand something for a second. OnlyFans has the same revenue essentially as SpaceX launch capacity, right? SpaceX does make more because of Starlink, but Starlink makes most of their revenue and most of their profit. So think about this for a second. Would you value OnlyFans at $1 trillion? No, that would be dumb. Yeah, anyways, again, it's 2026. And so like the issue that we have here is that in any sane world, this IPO should fail miserably. It should fail based off of the numbers. It should fail based off of projections. And definitely with this horse crap, it should fail because of that. Problem is we're in the modern world, and so there's a good chance it's not going to fail for any of those reasons. And where does that put us in another 10 years? Think about Musk's degradation up until this point in time. How much further degraded will Musk be in another decade? And how much, as his mental capacity declines, how much power will he gain in lockstep with that? So anyways, there you go. There you go. Some things to ponder. 2026. It's a hell of a year. So anyways, put your thoughts down below. If you like these shows, do remember you can get them on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts. Links for that is in the doobly-doo. With that, see y'all later.